Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kellie Hughes. I'm Artistic Director of the Astra Academy Performing Arts Strand in UCD. Today, 100 years ago, world leaders signed the Armistice, ending the First World War and 4 years of bloody conflict. Voices of War reflects on and commemorates this centenary in a performance of poetry and music by the Astra Performing Arts scholars. This performance is the result of a collaboration between Dr. Lucy Collins from the UCD School of English Drama and Film and the Astra Academy, and we were delighted to work with Dr. Lucy Collins on this piece. Thanks very much.
Before dying, I must just make my poem. Quiet, comrades, don't disturb me. We are going off to war. Death is our bond. Oh, if only my girlfriend would stop howling. What do I matter? I'm happy to go. My mother's crying. You need to be made of iron. The sun is falling down onto the horizon. Soon they'll be throwing me into a nice mass grave. In the sky, the good old sunset is glowing red. In 13 days, maybe I'll be dead.
The night is still and the air is keen. Tense with menace, the time crawls by. In front is the town, and its homes are seen, blurred in outline against the sky. The dead leaves float in the sighing air. The darkness moves like a curtain drawn, a veil which the morning sun will tear from the face of death. We charge at dawn.
This is the way that we went to get here. Past locks in early dawn, reeds so still they were painted in, green shamrocks we'd sewn into our jacket sleeves, never to match those shimmering connacht fields clotted white with sheep, but travelling with us anyway. And out of Dublin's grey light we came, out of the poor, the cold, always hungry, and now to be fed by our work, and out of Trinity, the future of a new nation. They would know us then, Our imperial overseers know our worth in battle, pay the value in our freedom after. That is honor. That is why we came. The fife band of the Irish Fusiliers played the wearing of the green as we sailed out to war from Devonport, those of us coast-born knowing the fear of a rough sea and the want of swimming in it. We had thought to save poor wee Belgium. We knew it wasn't France when they shaved our heads for the heat, lads running anyways to avoid it. We had heard from the Irish gone before. Gallipoli was hell. But when they landed us under sheer cliffs and no artillery, it didn't make sense.
A bone field, 50 meters by 50.
It's problematic to describe this as genocide.
I gather firewood at 8 o'clock in the morning. My son clings to my dress. Men in uniforms with military insignia stop their car and throw him into a fire. And 5 of them, one after the other, I am paralyzed.
It's problematic to describe this as genocide. The solution is not military intervention. We demand the US keep its hands off Sudan.
Children start jumping out windows when the Janjaweed come into the school. The police begin firing. Everyone, mainly babies and the elderly, falls down.
I am standing on bodies.
A military barracks.
No bathroom.
People stay still.
Suffering their wounds.
People stay still.
No bathroom. A military barracks.
I am standing on bodies.
Fall down. Mainly babies and the elderly. Everyone. The police begin firing. When the Janjaweed come into the school, children start jumping out windows.
The solution, not military intervention. The US keep its hands off Sudan, we demand. It's problematic to describe this as genocide.
I am paralyzed. One after the other, 5 of them.
They stop their car and throw him into a fire. Men in uniforms with military insignia.
My son clings to my dress. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I gather firewood.
It's problematic to describe this as genocide.
A bone field, 50 meters by 50.
Last night I read your letters once again. Read till the dawn filled all my room with grey. Then quenched my light and put the leaves away, and prayed for sleep to ease my heart's great pain. But that poignant tenderness made vain my hope of rest. I could not sleep or pray for thought of you, and the slow, broadening day held me there, prisoner of my throbbing brain. Yet I did sleep before the silence broke, and dream, but not of you. The old dreams rife with duties which would bind me to the yoke of my old, futile, lone, reluctant life. I stretched my hands for help in the vain strife, and grasped these leaves, and to this pain awoke.
I labor in a barren place, alone, self-conscious, frightened, blundering. Far away, stars wheeling in space. About my feet, earth voices, whispering.
Dew-parted cobwebs glitter on green boughs. Beneath our feet, the grass is wet with dew.
It seems as if this clear dawn must arouse our broken world to something strange and new. Deep in the high-built fortress of the pines, lost to her stars, dark night, imprisoned lies. Near my hushed soul in peace, a white rose shines, like a new dream downflung from ancient skies. Alas, the bugles on the distant plain, the guns break forth with their insistent din. The dews of noonday leave a crimson stain on grass that all men's feet must wander in. O singing splendor of the morning furled about the souls of trees, the hearts of flowers. Have you no dream of beauty for the world? This bitter, blood-stained world we men call ours?
The cherry trees bend over and are shedding on the old road where all that passed are dead. Their petals strewing the grass as if for a wedding this early May morn, when there is none to wed.
It is cold without flesh, without bones to cover the soul.
No blood or nerves to take the shock, but woes beat on the unprotected soul.
We are naked shades within our span of life, a gap in living fabric, a blot, a flaw.
Cold, cold without flesh, without bones. Cold without flesh, without bones to cover the soul.
We can perceive the sun, but not through warmth. We have no bodies.
Not through colour nor through brightness. We've no eyes.
Not through the increase of life, which to life it brings.
What the sun pours on our stripped souls is the dark, inverted essence of all these things.
We know when music plays, but we are shades.
Sounds cannot caress our ears, and rhythm tells us only that we have no limbs. No muscles clean as silk to swing our joints. No lovely ivory joints that turn and slide.
We are weightless shades. We wait upon the wind.
Tonight the music and the wind combine, and dead things dance. Dead leaves and dust and ghosts.
No time, no night and day. We crave for bodily cares or even pain to give our dreadful souls a holiday.
Our souls outcast from kindly human insincerity are whitening in the savage glare of truth.
They came in the night, Bessa said, holding the buggy tight. We were scared, hiding between buildings and under floors. We ran from house to house through holes in walls. It was dangerous to go through doors. They burned our homes, with our people inside. And there by the stream, see, there was Mendy and Tiki, my cousins with the others forming a hill of corpses. And in the old marketplace, you'll see the broken cobbles filled with blood. I'm alive. See? This is my child. I covered her mouth with my hand like this till the shooting ended. I'm alive, but I'm not happy.
An entire night thrown down beside a butchered companion with his grimacing mouth turned to the full moon, with his congested hands thrust into my silence. I wrote letters full of love. I have never held so hard to life.
From my mother's sleep, I fell into the state, and I hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from earth, loosed from its dream of life, I woke to black and the nightmare fighters. When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose.
There was a man, don't mind his name, whom fear had dogged by night and day. He could not face the German guns, and so he turned and ran away. Just that. He turned and ran away. But who can judge him? You or I? God makes a man of flesh and blood who yearns to live and not to die. And this man, when he feared to die, was scared as any frightened child. His knees were shaking under him. His breath came fast. His eyes were wild. I've seen a hare with eyes as wild, with throbbing heart and sobbing breath. But oh, it shames one's soul to see a man in abject fear of death. But fear had gripped him. So had death. His number had gone up that day. They might not heed his frightened eyes. They shot him when the dawn was grey. Blindfolded. When the dawn was grey, he stood there in a place apart. The shots rang out, and down he fell. An English bullet in his heart. An English bullet in his heart. But here's the irony of life. His mother thinks he fought and fell, a hero foremost in the strife. So she goes proudly to the strife, her best, her hero son she gave. Oh, well for her, she does not know he lies in a deserter's grave.
Then, in the lull of midnight, gentle arms lifted him slowly down the slopes of death, lest he should hear again the mad alarms of battle, dying moans and painful breath. And where the earth was soft for flowers, we made a grave for him that he might better rest. So, spring shall come and leave its sweet array, and there the lark shall turn her dewy nest.
I am making this statement as an act of willful defiance of military authority, because I believe that the war is being deliberately prolonged by those who have the power to end it. I am a soldier, convinced that I am acting on behalf of soldiers. I believe that this war, on which I entered as a war of defence and liberation, has now become a war of aggression and conquest. I believe that the purpose for which I and my fellow soldiers entered upon this war should have been so clearly stated as to have made it impossible to change them, and that, had this been done, the objects which actuated us would now be attainable by negotiation. I have seen and endured the sufferings of troops, and I can no longer be a party to prolong these sufferings for ends which I believe to be evil and unjust. I am not protesting against the conduct of war, but against the political errors and insincerities for which the fighting men are being sacrificed. I believe that I may help to destroy the callous complacence with which the majority of those at home regard the continuance of agonies which they do not share
and which they have not sufficient imagination to realize. The roses tremble. Oh, the sunflower's eye is opened wide in sad expectancy. Westward and back the circling swallows fly. The rooks' battalions dwindle near the hill. That low pulsation in the east is war. No bell now breaks the evening's silent dream. The bloodless clarity of the evening sky betrays no whisper of the battle scream.
For war's his life and half a world away. The soldier sells his family in days. He learns to fight for freedom and the state. He sleeps with 7 men within 6 feet. He picks up matches and cleans out plates. Is lied to like a child, cursed like a beast. They crop his head, his dog tags ring like sheep as his stiff limbs shift wearily to sleep. Recalled in dreams or letters else forgot, his life is smothered like a grave with dirt. And his dull torment mottles like a fly's, the lying amber of the histories.
We press forward with our bayonets glinting in the setting sun. 3 girls, clasped hand in hand, sink into the creek. On the darkling ground, only we are left behind.
I know that I shall meet my fate, somewhere among the clouds above. Those I fight I do not hate, those that I guard I do not love. My country is Kiltartan Cross, my countrymen Kiltartan's poor. No likely end could bring them loss or leave them happier than before. Nor law nor duty bade me fight, nor public men nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years to come seemed waste of breath. A waste of breath the years behind, in balance with this life, this death.
Never comes now the through and through clear tiredness of body on crisp straw downlaid, nor the tired thing said, content before the clean sleep close the eyes, or ever resistless rise pictures of far country westward, westward out of the sight of the eyes. Never more delight comes of the roof dark lit, with under candle flicker nor rich gloom on it. The limbed faces and moving hands shuffling the cards. The clear conscience, the free mind moving towards poetry, friends, the old earthly rewards. No more they come. No more. Only the restless searching, the bitter labor, the going out to watch stars, stumbling blind through the difficult door.
Akishla, I got your recent letters. I hope the children are now all well. I have just heard the sirens and bells which announce that the Armistice with Germany has been signed. It will bring relief to many an anxious heart. It will bring joy to many. But how many homes, when the joy bells cease ringing, will be plunged into a grief which at the moment is not felt, but which will be crushing when those who remain come back and it is realized that those who have fallen will never return. The thoughts that occur to me here today would fill volumes. Thoughts on the vanities of men and of empires, vanities which the lessons of this war will not dispel. I can see with the cynic's eyes, but I have not a cynic's tongue to express what I see. I should not weary you with this. The huge happenings through which we are passing will make their own suggestions to you, and thoughts and feelings like these are incommunicable. For the sake of the women of the world, at any rate, I am glad it is over. They it is who have suffered the most. Their imaginings have been far worse than the worst horrors the men have had to endure. They who live in those of the victorious nations will forget for a time their nightmare in the joy of victory. But alas, for those in the nations that have been vanquished. I love to hear about yourself and the children. You need not fear that such tidings as in your last will weary me. Be of good cheer. Amen. Tell the children how fond I am of them.
One man shall smile one day and say goodbye.
2 shall be left. 2 shall be left to die.
One man shall give his best advice.
3 men shall pay the price.
One man shall live.
Live to regret.
4 men shall meet the death.
1 man shall wake from terror to his bed.
5 men shall be dead.
One man to 5.
1,000,000 men to 1.
And still they die.
And still the war goes on.
Hello, my name is Lucy Collins, and on behalf of the School of English Drama and Film at UCD, I'd like to congratulate today's performers for a wonderful recital. On a personal note, it's been very moving for me both to work with the students through the semester, but also to hear these poems often familiar poems brought to life in this way. I'd like to thank especially Kellie Hughes, Director of the Astra programme, for the opportunity to work with her students. It's been a real privilege to do so. I'd also like to thank Therese Timoney and Andrea Ainsworth for their work with the performing arts students throughout the term, and David Doyle for his beautiful visual work. We're particularly grateful to UCD Ad Astra Performing Arts Academy and the UCD Decade of Centenaries programme for supporting this performance, and to Ailish O'Brien and her team at UCD, and also to UCD Archives. We're grateful especially to the contemporary poets whose work featured in this performance, Kevin Higgins, Robin Rowland, and Michael J. Whelan. We're delighted to be collaborating with the National Gallery of Ireland, not only in allowing us to work in this wonderful venue, but in opening their archives to us. And many of the images you saw on that visual presentation are from the National Gallery Archives. So we thank Leah Benson, Sinead Leahy and her team, especially for this. In a little while, we're going to be presenting the prizes for the Voices of War International Poetry Award. This competition was launched in UCD last spring and attracted almost 700 entries from around the world. So those of you who've indicated that you're coming to the presentation, which will take place in 90 Merrion Square, we'll go over there now as a group. And for the rest of you, I wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you.